Greetings of the day. Hope you all are doing great and thank you for coming onto my YouTube channel. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about Streisand Effect. So what this effect is all about and what it has to do with the celebrity's picture on the slide. Let's try to understand each of this particular aspect in the further slides. Before that, let's try to get definition in place. So what Streisand effect is, basically it's a phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove or censor information has unintended consequence of increasing awareness of that information, mostly via internet, is called the Streisand effect. This is pretty relevant in the modern era because of the advent of social media. A lot of these concepts make sense. Let's try to get down in the integrity of these each of the particular aspect and try to understand how it affects the business and also on a personal level. From the earlier slide, we have got the definition in place, but we are still not sure what it has to do with the celebrity Barbara Streisand and what it has to do with the property. So let's go back to 2003. It was in 2003 that Streisand committed the unfortunate act that would go on to be named as the Streisand Effect. In the process of safeguarding aerial photos of a Malibu mansion which were circulating online, the star was just trying to protect her privacy, due to which she had to file a lawsuit. But things didn't go the way she anticipated. In the process, she could not anticipate the aspect of the property photos getting viral. Barbara and the lawyers inadvertently brought attention to the very thing they wanted to avoid. The national and the global media began to pick up the story and publish the photo to audience across the world. It spread across millions and thousands of people. As such, Streisand had inadvertently caused the photo to be seen by millions of people, and millions of eyeballs were on it. And she also lost a lawsuit to Alderman. And a trivia here, Alderman wasn't a paparazzi, he was actually working on clicking an aerial view of the land. Basically, he was trying to take a picture of the coastal area because it has to do with the coastal reefs around. Basically, it had to do with the fishery ecosystem. It had nothing to do with her property. But things went out of play here, and somehow all this chaos happened. So what do we learn from this particular incident? We know from this we can know that the Barbara Streisand isn't the only high-profile case of the Streisand effect in action. Many businesses and brands have committed similar acts and suffered the consequences. Social media is like a bomb of information. When somebody wants to hide or suppress the information, it explodes even more. From the last two slides, we have learned about the origin of this effect. We've also known what this effect is all about and what it has to do with the celebrity's name. Now, let's try to understand by putting the business in this context, and with this frame of mind, let's see what happened in this framework. So, let's go back to 2014 in this case, and let's go back to London. So, the taxi firms in London are responsible for one of the biggest Streisand effect that has taken place in the recent years. It relates to an emerging app of that time, which was called Uber. As you can imagine, when Uber was first announced, there was a lot of backlash among the cab drivers. After all, they thought that this app would lose a lot of their business and it would affect their livelihood, because this was a form of a digital disruption that went on to take world by storm and revolutionize the taxi industries. Drivers saw this threat coming, hence they wanted to plan a protest regarding this. In 2014, the drivers in London decided to protest the app as it began to gain traction in Europe, which was threatening their livelihood. Do you think the things pan out as they wanted? Alas, no. What came out of this protest was exactly opposite of what the drivers wanted. Uber apparently saw an increase of 859% in the app downloads that week and more signups than it ever had till date. So this is a classical example of how few brands might get benefited with this transient effect. From the earlier example, we have seen that Uber has benefited from the Streisand effect. But is it always the case like this? Let's try to put another example in place and let's see what happened here. So let's go back to 2013 in the case of Samsung. So there was this YouTuber called Ghostly Rich. He had a Samsung Galaxy S4 smartphone and his phone was caught on fire. He filed a complaint to Samsung and he uploaded the video on YouTube, which has got a bit of traction. And Samsung did a small misstep in this place. It had offered a replacement to this YouTuber. But do you think things went the way Samsung wanted? No. So what this YouTuber has done is he has uploaded another video online which has got millions of views. Why? Because he blasted Samsung for its conduct and its attitude towards safety and concern of the product as well as the consumer. So what we can see from these above examples are the businesses can either benefit or become victim of the Streisand effect. So social media is a very powerful tool. Brands have to be well aware and the intention has to be in place why they are using it and what is the outcome they're trying to get out of it. If not used properly, it will lead to a very bad thing. From the earlier slides, we have seen that some companies got benefited from the Streisand effect and another company became a victim of it. So what is the lesson that we'll have to learn? Let's try to look at what the irony of internet is all about. The irony of the internet is that when you want to get famous, you will not be able to become famous. But when you want to avoid something from the public eye, social media will break you down. How information moves on social media platform like Facebook, Twitter has become a commanding factor in protest movements, national elections, and rise and fall of a commercial brands. The replication becomes impossible to hold back because any time a web server gains a new file and is queried by search engine spiders, which go out looking to see what has changed on the web, the cache of the web is updated with the location of the new file. And in such way, a ripple effect happens where the content gets more and more viral and there is no way you'll be able to stop it. Hence, prevention is better than cure, the elders say. It is a classical example in this case. From the earlier slide, we have got a context of the Streisand effect. We have also seen how it affects businesses. We have also seen a bit of how technology scales up the most viral news. In this slide, let's try to counter the Streisand effects. And let's keep few things in mind so that we can be mindful about it. So the best strategy to counter the Streisand effect is to avoid aggressive tactics when faced with negative information. If you coordinate your approach to how you are perceived by consumers and the wider public, then you should have fewer issues and complaints. In case of Samsung, a joint decision was made to send a YouTuber a replacement phone rather than deal with the safety concern brought up by the product. This was obviously a huge mistake, and a calculated approach and response would have been much better for the brand's image. Moving on, all it takes is one unaddressed tweet or one unacknowledged Facebook post, and you could open the doors to the Streisand effect. As a general rule of thumb, address all the criticisms as quickly as possible, and let's not try to spread the negativity faster. And certainly, don't try to cover up negativity or hide an issue that's brought up, as it can come back and bite you. So these are the things that we can do to implement. We can implement right off the bat to counter Streisand effect. End of the day, we all have to be very mindful about social media, and let's not also get scared about the social media. I mean, it's a gift if used properly. It all takes a little bit of mindfulness and awareness on how to use it properly. Thank you and have a great day.